Hello students, we now come to the end of the lesson, acid, bases and salts. Look at the picture carefully. What do you think the picture is suggesting? There is a downward arrow, the acid is pushing the base in turn is pushing the acids. Okay, what do you think this is? This is nothing but neutralization. So in this module, we are going to talk about neutralization. Do you think being neutral is always beneficial? Definitely. Neutralization or being neutral is having balance. So you should be balanced as far as your personality is concerned, as far as your moods are concerned, as far as your hobby and school is concerned. So it is always good to be neutral. Too acidic? No, it causes irritation. Too basic? You might just slip off. So better be neutral. Let us see what actually neutralization means. I have taken three pictures. This is an experiment which we will do once we meet back in school again. The apparatus that you see over here is this part, the flask is called as a conical flask, and I have taken an acid into it. Okay, and through this pipe, through this burette is what I call, I'm going to add base to it. If you remember, we started off when we were discussing about acid, base and salt. We said that acid and a base will give me salt and water. Okay, but how will I know if both acid and bases are colorless? How will I know that yes, now I can salt is being formed, because that salt is also dissolved, no? So I won't get it in my hands right away. So what I do is I need to have something which will indicate that yes, the neutralization process is on and acid and a base are reacted and there is formation of salt. Okay, so how do I do that? I have in the first conical flask, I have taken acid. Okay, acid is colorless right now. And I have added a drop of a chemical indicator called as phenolphthalein. So I've taken acid and an indicator phenolphthalein. Phenolphthalein is a colorless indicator, and in acid it does not give me any color. So it will if directly if I give you a conical flask and tell you okay go take this solution, and if I've even if I've added phenolphthalein you will not know because both are colorless. Now what I do in at the second time, if you see from the burette, drop by drop, I am adding a drop of base. So when I add a very first drop of base, phenolphthalein in base gives me pink color. Okay, but in the conical flask there is more acid, and from the burette I am adding just one drop of base. That much is not sufficient to turn the entire solution pink. So if I shake that conical flask in figure 2, again I will get a colorless liquid. Jadoo, right? I add one more drop of base, pink color at just where the drop touches that acid. Shake it, colorless. I continue doing this till I get entire solution pink. And that entire pink solution indicates that now in the conical flask there is more of base and less of acid. Okay, so this is an experiment which normally it is carried out to find out exact neutralization point as to how much amount of base is required to neutralize an x ml of acid that I have taken in the conical flask. As you go in the higher standards, you will be performing this experiment by yourself. Okay. Now, when an acidic solution is mixed with a basic solution, both the solutions are trying to balance out each other, neutralize each other, and they are going to destroy each other's nature. The base will attack the acid and destroy its acidic nature. The acid will attack the base and try and destroy its basic nature. So end result is the yielding solution is neither acidic nor basic, and now we say that the neutralization is attained. Now during neutralization, there is heat that is evolved. Okay, heat that is given out. If you remember, when we were studying chemical reactions, we said that in a chemical reaction sometimes heat is given out, sometimes heat is consumed. Now in neutralization reaction, the heat is evolved, and as a result the temperature of the mixture in that flask will be slightly elevated, raised. Okay. The new substance that is formed is called as a salt. Acid plus base gives me salt plus water. Okay. Now I want you to recollect a reaction which we have done in the previous module. Let's say acid HCl reacts with a base sodium hydroxide. So hydrochloric acid plus sodium hydroxide will give me sodium chloride and water. Now this reaction will suggest that it's a neutralization reaction. Tell me, where do you apply neutralization? Think. Normally they say that whenever you apply shampoo on your hair, you should also apply conditioner. Do you think this is a marketing gimmick, or do you think there is some science associated with it? Tell me about it. Like we said, neutralization is important, then we need to neutralize those acids and bases in our life immediately and right away. Let us take few examples of neutralization which we see it in our day-to-day life without realizing that it is neutralization. Poor stomach. It's facing a lot of indigestion these days, especially monsoons. You are sitting at home because of current situations, hardly any exercise, eating too much, thanks to indigestion then. So your stomach has an hydrochloric acid. You need it. If you remember, we've studied it in the earlier lesson. We need that hydrochloric acid because we want to kill the germs and bacteria which automatically come with our food that we eat. And at a times when this acid increases because of you not eating your meals at the right time, the right quantity, and other factors as well, then there is too much of acid in your stomach out there, and that causes indigestion. Sometimes this indigestion is very, very painful. Some people may have extreme cramps in their stomach and not realizing what needs to be done. So if there is too much of acid in your stomach, what should you do? You should pop an antacid. You remember we studied that antacid, milk of magnesia. Gelusil is a brand name, but that has milk of magnesia, which contains magnesium hydroxide. Hydroxides are bases. Stomach, there is acid. Acid and base is going to neutralize the excessive effect, and it's going to give you relief. Okay. Second example, an ant bites. You remember ant has formic acid. Again, that formic acid is injected into your skin. The effect of acid can be neutralized. How? You take baking soda, rub it against that area wherever you've got that ant bite. If you realize that your ant has bitten you over there, and if you don't have that baking soda, then sometimes they say no, the basil, tulsi chimati, basil soil is also basic in nature, and then at times you just rub it, and you'll after some time you'll find that inflammation, red soreness of your skin vanishing. So again, this is a neutralization effect. Formic acid injected by the ant is being neutralized by the baking soda that you are applying. Some of you might have faced certain allergies, especially during monsoon, certain insect bites, and you've got lot of pimples on your hands and feet. And at times the doctor tells you to apply a calamine solution, pink color lotion, very sweet smelling. That also has zinc carbonate, which is again going to neutralize the acids that have been injected in your body by those insects. So this is neutralization. Soil needs to be treated. If the pH or if the acidity or the basicity of the soil is not maintained properly as per the crop requirement, then that soil will not yield better results. So at times excessive use of chemical fertilizers, every farmer wants lot of yield, add fertilizers, then in such case the soil will be acidic, and plants really cannot grow well in such kind of too acidic or too basic soils. So if you want to treat the soil which is very acidic, what do you think you should add? Correct. Base. Base like quicklime, tuna, calcium oxide, or slaked lime, calcium hydroxide. So again, oxide, hydroxide, both are bases. So if the soil is too acidic, you add a base. If the soil is too basic, you add acid. How will you add acid? Do you think you'll pour hydrochloric acid over there? No. If the soil is too basic, you need acids which are organic in nature, and they will neutralize the basic nature of the soil without damaging its fertility or without killing the microorganisms who are actually helping the plants to grow by making the soil fertile. And the last one, look at the picture, factory waste. Actually, that man is telling, I am just wondering, there is greenery everywhere, and then why are people pointing out to the emissions that my canal, factory outlet is giving? That is also green in color, so green, green everywhere. That's a cartoon actually. But the factory waste, which could be acidic or basic, needs to be treated before they are emitted in the natural reservoirs or the water bodies. Imagine a chemical factory is getting out an effluent which is too acidic in nature, and that substance is not treated and it is simply let out in the water bodies. It is going to kill the aquatic life, and very soon it will kill everything, and that water will no longer be potable also. So the ecosystem will be hampered. Thus, the factory waste is neutralized. If the factory waste is acidic, many a times it is acidic because a lot of acids are required in industrial purpose, and then they are treated with a base, their effect is neutralized, and then that water is let out into the water bodies. Okay, dare with care. Now, since the entire lesson we were handling acids and bases and salts, and right now we are all handling words, acid, base, and salts, and it's very easy to say them. But when the time comes for you to experiment all these in the lab, there is utmost care that one needs to take. You have to handle the chemicals in the lab with lot of care. Okay, care doesn't mean you're going to give them a hug or you're going to hold them very close to you. No, but as per the instructions being given, you need to be very vigilant, very attentive when you're handling such chemicals in the lab. Why? Because chemicals are corrosive. They can harm you, harm your skin. Should never add water to acid because that will give out an explosion. Now, don't try and do it at home, please, because acids are very, very corrosive. So, you have to take a lot of care when you're handling them. You need to use proper equipment when you're handling such chemicals in the lab. And this is very important because very soon you will be actually working full time into a lab, and then these things really, really are important for your safety. So, like we are taking care of ourselves, don't you think we should also take care of our earth? Look at the picture. Generally, when it rains, the earth is very happy, correct? See, there is a cloud, though the cloud looks heavy and angry, yet it is pouring something, and because of which the earth is being very sad. Why is that so? What do you think that the cloud is pouring? Generally, rain, the earth will be very happy, no? No, this is actually an acid rain. Okay, have you heard about it? This basically happens because of many acidic elements or many acidic components which are being let out into the atmosphere. So, like carbon dioxide, like sulfur dioxide, or nitrogen dioxide, all these, carbon dioxide we exhale, but the fuels, the incomplete combustion, that also gives out carbon dioxide, sulfur dioxide, and nitrogen oxide dioxide also. So, where do you think once they are emitted from the vehicles and factories, where do you think they are going? They are staying there in the atmosphere. They don't cross the barriers and go away into the space. No, they don't. They stay in the atmosphere. And then when it rains, they dissolve with the rainwater and they form their corresponding acids. So carbon dioxide will form carbonic acid, sulfur dioxide will form sulfuric acid, nitrogen dioxide will form nitric acid. And all these acids are mixed so the raindrops that are coming, they are not raindrops but they are acids falling on the earth, and then they are going to damage the buildings. Corrosion. Acid leads to corrosion, then they are going to damage the buildings, they are going to damage our monuments. Taj Mahal, blackening of Taj Mahal thanks to sulfur dioxide, nitrogen dioxide, which has been emitted from the industries which are located on the banks of the Yamuna river, causing river pollution as well, causing air pollution as well, thanks to acid rain, thanks to all these things. Do you really think we should be saying thanks to it? No, it's high time that we realize. They're damaging plants because they have corrosive in nature. They're damaging animals, and in turn, they're damaging the soil. So, every component of the ecosystem, let it be biotic living or abiotic non living, is hampered because of acid rains. And it's really, really high time for us to think how we can stop all these things and make our earth healthy